My bad. Oh, I missed my rear brake.
Thanks for tuning in. This is Thomper B. Thompin, and this is round 10 of the Virginia Championship Hare Scramble Series for the 2022 season. We're at Coyote Run, and man, this course was another good one. This is probably the course with the most elevation change out of the series, I think. So that makes it just for a really fun time. Lots of long downhills and uphills, and I'm on a new bike. There she is. I'm off the 2022 KTM 300 XCW, the two-stroke enduro bike, and I'm on the 350 XCF. Sorry, the 2023 350 XCF four-stroke. So it's the cross-country like chassis and suspension, and of course I went with the 350. Although I probably would have been just as happy with the 250. But that's Brian Dalton off to my right. So I was able to pick his brain. He's on a 2022 350, the same bike. He actually gets a solid third place finish this race. But I was able to pick his brain a little bit and talk to my brother and some other riders who just kind of helped convince me to go this route. So Brian actually forgot his SD card this race. But don't worry, Brian, I record you all the way up to the first turn here. Good start. But yeah, we had a great field. There's Woodsy up front and Travis Hurt right here. I actually went for the whole shot a little bit more than I normally do. So I'll talk about the whole two-stroke, four-stroke reason why I'm switching thing throughout the video a little bit, but just want to talk about this start. Yeah, this is the first start I think where I actually kind of went for it a little bit. I wasn't afraid to let her eat. I will say though that this course was a lot faster, so I felt much more comfortable kind of opening it up. So there goes Travis. He's starting to sneak his way towards the front of the pack. And then I kind of settle in behind Matt here. Matt's got a YouTube channel called Woodsy. I'll link to it below. He's on a 2022 Beta 300, so if you want to see some Hare Scramble races of the Beta 300s, his is a good channel to go check out. And I'll also link Brian Dalton's channel, Brap Dalton. I watched a lot of his videos up to making this purchase for the 350. Oh yeah, by the way, I bought this thing the previous morning. So here I am racing in southwestern Virginia. It was a 5-hour drive for me to get there. I bought this thing up at Blue Ridge Power Sports in Harrisonburg, Virginia. Shout out, guys. They always take great care of me. I've purchased a few bikes from them now. I just like the way they treat customers, and they have a great selection of KTMs right now. They have a pretty solid inventory. But yeah, I bought it yesterday. I did a little break-in ride, and I wasn't going to race it. I was going to race my 300 XCW, but I just decided to go do the oil change, throw on some wraparound handguards. It does come stock with a skid plate. I was just too excited to race it, and here I am, right behind Matt, for a solid like 7-8 minutes maybe. I normally never am able to keep up with him. He does end up pulling away, and I kind of never see him again, but he had a solid, I think, about fifth place finish in our group. The unofficial results, those can be off by a place or two, whereas I finished about 9th-ish, give or take. But I'm just trying to get a feel for it at race pace, and it's feeling good. I like the power delivery. Again, this course is very conducive to this bike, I would argue. It's not extremely tight, and there weren't too many like hard enduro rocky sections, just a couple small spots where you really had to pick your line through there. But man, what an awesome course. I love this place. Coyote Run, a lot different from last year. The way they routed the course through the forest, but we still had tons of elevation gain and loss, just up and down these huge mountains. What a cool course. So I was concerned about flame out going to a 4-stroke after riding a 2-stroke for a full year. But it really wasn't too bad of an issue. It catches me a couple times out there, but I'm so used to clutching in 3rd gear on that 300 XCW anyways. I finally kind of cemented that habit. Here comes Jimmy. Yeah, baby. Cooking with fire. And not long after him, Josh Horst gets me here. And then not long after him, Travis Lamb gets me too. So those kind of like, that's the speed trio. They're all in the line behind me, or in the class that lines up behind me, but those 3 are wicked fast. So I hear Travis coming, and I start awkwardly trying to move over to let him by. I thought he was right on my tail, but he wasn't. So I'm like, well, where'd he go? Where'd he go? I thought he was right there. No, there was his front fender. And he just bolts by right here. Yeah, I just shouted, sorry, Travis, I wasn't trying to hold you up. I hope I wasn't holding you up right there. I always try to let riders, especially in the first lap, the first half of the first lap, you get tons of those really fast people in the lines behind me will catch me rather quick. So I know they're coming, and I always try to pull over safely to let them by, not hold them up for too much. But with this 4-stroke, I noticed it's a lot harder to hear people. So I would have like these phantom bikes behind me, maybe throw a glance to see if someone's back there. Nope, no one's back there. So Jimmy, Josh, Travis, make sure to shout loud and proud when you're coming up behind me so I can give you some space. Because I cannot hear as well, that's for sure. Yeah, the weather conditions were really good too. And maybe, so we took off at about 10:30, 10:45-ish. And it was maybe 80 degrees, but we're in the shade anyways, so 70s are, or you know, somewhere around there, 75, 80 degrees, really nice day. The dirt was perfect. Absolutely zero dust. I mean, look at this dirt. Doesn't get any better. There's Matt Woods one more time. He must have got caught up on that hill. I'm pretty sure that's him. But yeah, if it is, that's the last we see of him right there. But I'm liking the way this 4-stroke thumper's just chugging along. So the 300 KTM XCW that I had was a fantastic bike, but it's a hard enduro bike. And again, I wanted a bike that could kind of do it all, trail ride, maybe dabble in some hard enduro. I love doing that stuff even though I'm terrible at it, but also go and race Hare Scrambles. That suspension was just way too soft, and there's no amount of changing the clickers that could ever fix that. That's just how it's sprung. So yeah, I could go through, get some stiffer springs put in, and do all that, but also it being a hard enduro bike, 1st and 2nd gear are way lower than the equivalent 300 XC that KTM offers. 3rd gear through 6th gear are all the same. But that really low 1st and 2nd gear can be advantageous, but it can also kind of hurt you. So there's a really awkward gap between 2nd and 3rd, and that just started to get annoying out here. Oh, he's trying to pick a safe spot on these off-camber hills, because you pull down and you risk falling. You pull up the hill and you risk falling. I've done that before, so when people are trying to pass me on an off-camber hill like this where there's a single trail, sometimes I just have to make them wait just a little bit longer. Oh yeah, that was my first flame out of the race, and I did it over this kind of double log hop. I felt so bad. I stall out, come to a complete stop right in front of this dude, and he actually bumps into me pretty good, but he was able to restart and get around. I just wasn't expecting the second log there. So yeah, a few reasons why I'm moving on from the 300 XCW to this 350 XCF. Mostly chassis, suspension, power delivery. They're pretty equivalent in actual overall horsepower and stuff, but just the way that comes on. The biggest thing's got to be the chassis and suspension, though. This thing feels so nimble compared to that enduro bike. So I really liked that once I kind of got into more of a flow state. Here's a good example of some of these downhills. They just went on forever. I'm just clutched in, just coasting. It's also the first lap through here, so you know, sections like this I kind of approach a little bit more cautiously because I don't know what to expect. Nice pass on the inside there. So here's the biggest hill climb of the day. Man, this was so much fun. I don't do it very well here, but you got loose dirt, lots of loose rocks everywhere, so the bike was just dancing all over the place as you're trying to fight for traction and just drive up it. But then it has this nice little dog leg left, and then you get another second climb. Just keep going. So my first lap through here, I take this pretty slow. My second lap through, I totally goof it up. I think I stall out and someone gets a pass on me. I kept that in the video. And then my third lap, I finally hit it with some decent speed. But at this point, I'm like, actually, my first 5 minutes in, I had no regrets switching over to the 350 4-stroke. Again, for this type of riding, not knocking 2-strokes, 4-strokes, whatever. There's people who are way faster than me who ride both, and I like both. But again, I can only have one bike. For the sake of my wallet and my marriage, I can only have one bike. I do got my little Honda Play bike, but that's just for fun. It's a little 125. But I can't believe how far I've come as a rider too, just in 1 year. Oh yeah, there's a little. I'll get back to that, but yeah, I got off the main trail, out of the deep rut, on and off camber. I checked the trail, no one's coming. So that's just an example of what happens when you get out of that mainline trail on and off camber. But yeah, I think last year I raced this course on my 300 XCW. I think it was my second race on that bike, my third race ever. So I was new to Hare Scrambles and dirt bikes last year. So I can't believe how far I've come in just 1 year. It's just, you can really progress. No, they're cool. Hill climb. This is a really fun little spot too. A little bit more rooty, rocky. That loose dirt, but still had a decent amount of grip to it. Fun climb, fun climb.
Oh, nice pass, nice pass.
Yeah, nice pass on the inside line. And he had a little log hop to do there too. Good move, good move. So this property's on a private farm, and they've got a lot of these like ledge roads in here. Some of them are newer, and some of them are a little older, kind of like this. Like obviously you could fit an ATV down here, and some of them are a little bit more grown in. But this is arguably one of the coolest courses that we do, just because of the variety of the terrain. You're up and down and left and right. It's quite exciting. So I had a little bit of R pump this first lap too, still getting used to this just torquey kind of sudden power. So I was clutching a lot in second and third, just trying to manage the bottom end bite that this thing has.
Thank you.
But I was able to keep it at bay, just resorting back to my usual tricks of, okay, remember the fundamentals, remember the grip, remember the squeeze. Clutching on these downhills helped, and of course remembering to breathe. Yeah, little tip over, not sure what happened there. I think a root got me. Nice little tight section down here. Oh yeah, some rider got stuck on that downhill section. That's just takes forever to get your bike out of there. Once you do, holy smokes, the energy expenditure is, you pay a massive price. So we're closing in on finishing up lap 1 here.
Oh, 4 strokes for life, baby.
And that's John Sawyer's. He rides a 4-stroke, him and his son Easton do. And but he had to sit this one out because he had a massive injury sustained in the last race. I saw the big brace on his arm. He demolished his arm pretty bad, so he's just not healed up enough to safely ride. So we'll see you out there next time, John. But he was at the finish line there, hooting and hollering. We see him again on the end of lap 2. That was good. That was motivating. So here we go. Hill climb, letter E. Send that tree fitty. It's more power than I can really handle, but man, is it fun to grab a handful of that. So lap 2, a lot calmer. We're settling in.
Thank you.
And I'm still getting a feel for just how she turns in, how she leans over. I'm running tubes. I don't really have any protective gear on here. I got the stock skid plate, which is actually pretty decent. And thank you, KTM, for finally starting to put skid plates on these bikes that you call race ready and that are off-road bikes. A lot of them come naked. It's weird, but it's got a good stock skid plate, which I will be replacing with an AXP once they make one for the 2023s, because this is a new generation bike. And I put on some wraparound handguards off my old bike. But beyond that, I don't have any disc guards. I have no other protection on the bike, so I'll throw on some rotor guards and all that. But yeah, I don't know what happened right there. I just missed my rear brake, and I think in my head I was just waiting for my rear brake, and I kind of banked on that, and when it wasn't there, I just wiped out. Ended up landing on my shoulder pretty good. So that, it's fine, but it's holy shnikes, is it sore. I'm gonna have to postpone some workouts this week. Yeah, I've got the Enduro Engineering wider rear brake tip on my KTM 300 XCW, so I'm so used to that. And I'm on the stock tip, which is a lot smaller, so just didn't find it. So I kept this little spot on in here. So this is lap 2 and kind of in the first third of it, and look how slow I'm going through here. I could be going way faster through here, but I kept this in to point out the whole, like, this is what I kind of call my lap 2 settlement phase, where the arm pump is at bay. It's not gonna come out and get me, and just kind of my overall fatigue is kind of settling in, and this is the beginnings of entering into the flow state. So I'm curious, if you other racers who do these hare scrambles, how long does it take you to like get your body and your mind sharp? or get your body, or I should say, get your body loosened up, where arm pump's done. It's not a problem at all for the rest of the race, where you're nice and loose, but your mind is nice and sharp too. You're anticipating turns, you're reading the terrain better, you're more in tune with your bike and how it's behaving. For me, this process really begins the beginning of lap 2, and then towards, oh yeah, nice little roost there. And then towards the end of lap 2, I'm really into it consistently every race, and I just can't figure out how to get back into that flow state. Well, flow state for me, I'm a beginner C-class rider, a lot quicker. So maybe that's just the way it is for everybody, but I'm curious. Let me know how it works for you. Another great downhill, and here's that super rocky hill climb. Well, not super rocky, lots of tiny rocks, and I totally goof it up. See what I'm doing here? I'm tapping the starter. Took me 4 tries to start it, and that's not a fault of the bike. That's all me. Nice pass, by the way, on the hill climb. That was pretty sick. But I recover, and I get up this hill pretty good. My third lap, I do it a lot faster, but I just want to point out with the starter and the flame out issues. So I'm so used to the 300 XCW that being a 2-stroke, you just tap that starter button and it fires up immediately every single time. But for these 4-strokes, of course, they're a little bit harder to start, and I'm used to my brother's 2021 YZ250FX, which you got to hold the starter button down for a few days and then it finally turns over. But this one actually fires up really quick and consistently. What I gotta do, I figured out, is hold it down for about 1 to 1.5 seconds, and it just fires up immediately every time. So I start doing that, and that works a lot better. So that was William Hendrick, 29J, that got the pass on me right there. And he is moving really good through these woods. So he's in my class, and he's starting to run away from me there, but we meet again on lap 3, which is pretty cool. So I'm waving somebody on, I don't know who it is. And it's Joe Overstreet, he's in my class. Yeah, I think I was kind of still just recovering a bit right here. I wasn't quite into my flow state yet. So Joe gets ahead of me, but I know he's in my class, so I'm trying to hang with him. Keeping him close, keeping him close. This is a good example of one of those old shelf roads. It looks like a shelf road to me. You got a steep drop off there to your left and a steep hill climb up to your right. But it's obviously pretty grown in. Recently cleared out for this race. This is a cool spot. Tough to make passes there, but cool little section. For terrain variety, I will say this is my favorite course. The elevation, the mountains, the rocky sections, really cool stuff. So I finally catch back up to Joe, right on his tail. I'm like, all right, here we go. Maybe I'll get the pass again. And then I do this. There I go, tapping it again. Tap, tap, tappy, tap, tap, taparoo. I'm so used to that 2-stroke starter firing so fast. So I tapped it twice, and then I finally held it down for 1 second the third time, and it came to life immediately. So I was so worried about the starter on this thing being like the Yamaha Thank goodness it's not, because that could be really annoying. I know there's some workarounds. I'm not knocking Yamaha. It's just that's just the way their starter is for that year bike. I'm sure they'll figure it out. But here we are finishing up lap 2. Little watery section here, little sideways on that muddy exit. So I'm reeling them in. I was trying to work in a pass right before the scoring to complete lap 2 here, but I couldn't do it. And here's John again. So you probably couldn't hear him what he was saying there, but he said 2 spots just ahead. And I knew exactly what he was talking about. He's like, you got 2 dudes in your class that are right ahead of you. So I know one of them's obviously Joe. He's right ahead of me. So I'm trying to lock on and stay with him and work in a pass on him. But I don't know who the next person is, because obviously I can't see anybody. I got a little bit unsorted there. And then both Joe and I just let these bikes eat up this hill. I just shouted, "Oh, Joe!" Like he's not. It was just my way of kind of rooting him on. Like, yep, he's not gonna give it to me. He's gonna make me work for this for sure. Because he hauled, he up that hill. He started to pull away from me there, so I knew he was moving. But there he goes. He kind of just let me by there. Maybe fatigued or something. So I know Joe's fast, and he's also very consistent, I've noticed. So I know I can't really make any mistakes, because the second I do, he's just going to go right by me again. And like always, my third lap was by far my fastest. I just missed a 4th lap. The leaders got in a 4th one. I think I missed it by maybe 2-3 minutes or so. One of these days I'll start getting full races in for sure. Right into a climb. So now I've got it in my mind, like I heard John say that you got 2 of them ahead of you. Go get them. Well, I'm just trying to hunt down whoever the second person is. It's rare that I am in a position to actually compete with people on the 2nd and 3rd lap in my class. I had a couple of good battles with Randall Ellis. Just, had a great back and forth there with Joe, and I think last race too. And then I finally catch him. It's William Hendrick, 29J, who passed me much earlier. Well, he got caught up behind someone, so that's how I was able to catch up to him. I'm okay, this must be the person. Here we go, time to go. And I get all sorts of cattywampus on this uphill. Luckily I didn't stall it there, but that's where the 2-stroke is more forgiving, at least the 300 XCW with that really soft suspension. If I messed up one of these climbs where I spun my tire and lost momentum, or I hit a rock and lost momentum, I was able to recover pretty decently, even at a really slow crawl, without stopping. I've noticed that it's definitely tougher with this bike, but I think I'll be able to figure it out. So William just lets me by. Again, probably just like fatigue or something, probably getting the water. I tried getting water on the move and I flamed out and I stalled the bike. So I threw my tube back down on my chest and said, forget it, no water. I'm just gonna have to figure that out later. Do you guys got any tips for when you drink water? Maybe going through scoring, grab the tube real fast, something like that. Maybe on these downhills where I'm coasting. It's probably a good spot, like right here. Reach over with my throttle hand, grab it real fast. I was pretty thirsty by the end. Yeah, I know William's fast because he passed me and then put on quite a gap. So it felt really good to get those two guys. I'm like, oh man, John's gonna be so proud of me. But it doesn't last for too long. We've got this really long descent, and I think William gets me on that uphill. So William, by the way, is he's out there racing with his son. Hashtag life goals. I guess he's coming back from a pretty big injury, he said. So he's finally back on the bike and back out there racing. So good for you, man. That's awesome. Yeah, he gets me up here. I flame out, but she started up real quick, and I know William's right on my butt right here too. So I think where does he make the pass on me? So this is the hill climb where I actually kind of get it halfway decent. I would have liked a better start at the bottom of it. But I got her moving pretty good going up there. I think I stayed in third gear through that left-hand turn and just kind of clutched out of it. Oh, I hear you. And I think those are some of the people on the lead lap.
Thank you.
So I'm moving. At this point, I think I've got William beat here. I just gotta not make any mistakes. Oh, this is where it is. Big old vine right there. Yup. There he goes. I don't see him till the finish line where we pull off and I get to go say hi and everything. But yeah, the flame out got me again. I feel like if I was on that 300, I would have been able to maintain momentum going around that vine and probably kept it moving without stalling. But I'll get used to it. I'll fix that for sure. Nice little tight section through here. There really were a lot of beautiful sections on this course and a lot of fun stuff I just had to cut out to make this video somewhat short. Yeah, here I get caught up behind a new rider. When you see these people,
Good job, man. Good job. Keep it up. Keep it up.
make sure to root them on. You know, like I was that dude last year. And I remember people as they were passing by. Yeah, don't ride like me, man. I almost lose it like 4 times right through here. When you see people like that, root them on. I remember last year I was, basically just like that, and I remember people passing me by like, yeah, man, keep it up. That's really encouraging, because that dude back there, he could be like competing for, I don't know, 250C class in a year or two, like competing for the podium or something. Oh almost lose it right there, bouncing off the rev limiter, and I saw that lady's face. I glanced over towards her, and she has this look on her face like, whoa, this guy is out of his mind. Yep, finishing it up. 3 laps. That's it. Really happy with the 4-stroke purchase here. Thanks for watching, everybody.